Today we're going to cover a very cool entry in the electronic drum set world via the Titan 70 by Simmons. We're going to start out today with a quick overview of this drum set, then we'll get into some details and tech specs a little bit later in the video. I'll also be showing you tons of the drum kits and cool sounds that are included with the Titan 70 and giving you my thoughts on this kit as a whole. Alright, so first off we need to acknowledge the price point of this kit, which sits somewhere around $800 for everything. To be anywhere near or under $1,000 for this amount of drums and cymbals with a functioning module is really impressive. Now, where exactly Simmons chose to save some money in the production of the Titan 70, that's something that we're going to discuss as this video goes on. I hope to explore some of this kit's strengths and its weaknesses as well. Now, for what it's worth, this kit arrived in excellent shape and it was packaged very, very well. Almost every component included was inside of its own box. That was really nice to see. Now, the only thing that this e-kit does not come with is a throne to sit on and a pair of drumsticks. But aside from those two things, you need absolutely nothing else to get started. And sure enough, while editing, I realized that there is a pair of drumsticks inside the box that I totally missed, so the only thing you need is in fact a throne. Inside the box, we've got our drum rack, a 12-inch ride cymbal, and 3 slightly smaller cymbals, one of which is going to be our hi-hat. Then we have our kick drum pedal, a hi-hat pedal, and all of our cables, clips, and connectors. And of course we have the drum module itself, also known as the brain, and tons of hardware that we'll be using to mount our cymbals onto the rack. And finally we have our kick pad, 4 matching 8-inch toms, and our big 10-inch snare drum. Alright, so we're all unboxed, here's all of the included components. Now let's put this thing together. So the assembly of the Titan 70 was really straightforward. Many of the connections were really intuitive, and there were very few times that I even had to reference the photos. I don't think I opened the manual once setting this thing up. Now keep in mind, I've been building up and tearing down drum sets for about 20 years, but overall, in the grand scheme of things, this was not a very difficult e-kit to assemble. If it's your first time setting up an electronic drum set, I would budget maybe 60 to 90 minutes worth of your time. Now that we're all set up, let's take this kit for a test drive. First impressions, this thing sounds great. I think in my mind, sometimes I associate more budget-friendly kits with budget-friendly sounds, but that's not really the case here. In doing research for this video, I watched several reviews of other Simmons kits, and even after listening to their SD1250, I didn't hear any drum sounds that were nearly as good as the ones coming from this Titan 70 module. One key difference that I did notice was the actual length of the drum samples, like the length of the recorded drum samples. Many of the kits that you're hearing today have this ambience to the original drum recording, and that natural reverb in the sample is a lot more believable when you can hear that room sound decay naturally instead of abruptly stopping. But that means that the recordings of each sample have to be a little bit longer, which takes more time, more data. So this was something that I think Simmons put a little bit of effort on, and it makes these sounds a lot more believable to me. Now in total, there's 314 individual drum sounds inside of this module, and I'm probably not going to show you all of those today, but as this video goes along, I'll be sure to include some of my favorites so you can hear the wide variety of sounds that you're getting with the Titan 70 module. Now, regarding the build quality of this kit, I thought Simmons made some pretty wise choices as to where and how they spent their money on this setup. The overall feel of the heads and the cymbals themselves were certainly prioritized, and that's absolutely what I had hoped to see. The drums have enough weight to give you plenty of confidence in their durability, because we're going to proceed to hit these with sticks for a very long time. Now my kit came wrapped in this really nice blue color, and I like how little of the blue is actually visible. Sometimes really bright colors can be overwhelming for me on a giant acoustic drum set, but I thought this small amount of blue was pretty tasteful. It's a very good-looking e-kit overall. It doesn't look like it costs less than $1,000, and that made filming this video a lot more enjoyable. I will say there was some money saved when it comes to the mounting hardware on this kit. There's many components that are made of plastic where traditionally you would find metal. For example, the mounts that hold your drums and cymbals on the rack are made of plastic, as well as the boom adjustments on the cymbal arms. And while this greatly reduces the weight of the kit, this could be a problem if you wanted to break this kit down and set it back up repeatedly. If you were making constant adjustments to this kit, that's where you might run into problems, because obviously there's only so many hundreds of times that you can move plastic components before they start to wear down. But for a huge majority of buyers, I don't think this is going to be a drum set that you're going to take on tour. So if you plan to set this kit up once and use it in a practice room or a home recording studio kind of environment, the hardware is not going to be a problem at all. One kind of cool thing about having cheaper plastic hardware parts is that it reduces the weight of this entire kit. So you can literally grab this thing by the rack, lift it up, and just kind of scoot it around the room. So that might be kind of nice for some people. If you want to move it like within your house, it is very easy to move this thing around. So I found the physical feel of this kit to be above average for the price point. Does it feel like a $5,000 e-kit? No, it definitely doesn't, but it sure doesn't feel like a sub $1,000 e-kit either. The heads are responsive, they got a great stick rebound, no complaints at all, and while you can tighten the heads, I didn't find a need to do that. All of the playing demos that you've seen in this video were recorded with this kit straight out of the box. I didn't even adjust the spring tension on the kick drum pedal, so it definitely came ready to play. Now, both of the included pedals feel great, and I loved how responsive the kick pad and hi-hat are once you get them plugged in, because there is nothing worse than getting on an electronic kit and constantly feeling or just noticing how different it feels when compared to an acoustic kit. But when playing the Titan 70, I was definitely able to get into a flow, and much of that comes from not being physically distracted by the feeling of the heads, the cymbals, and especially the pedals when you're playing. Now, in the realm of realism, Simmons focused heavily on increasing the amount of zones in these drums and cymbals. The 10-inch snare and all 4 of your 8-inch toms have dual zone mesh pads, which allows them to be much more sensitive than single zone triggers. The ride cymbal has 3 zones on the bell, the bow, and the edge of that cymbal. Our 2 crash cymbals have a choke feature, and all of these things in combination contribute to drummers feeling like they're on a more authentic instrument, because when E-kits respond like acoustic kits, we can focus on our actual playing and think a lot less about the gear that we're using. Now, focusing on the Titan 70 module a little more, let's talk about some of these tech features. Simmons has an app called the Simmons Drums 2 app for iOS, and this connects directly to your module via Bluetooth. Once connected, you can use the app to individually edit every drum and create a drum mix that's totally unique. Now, typically this is done on the module itself, but in my experience, that can be a really slow and tedious process. Using the Simmons app on your phone makes this way simpler, and they included some other really cool and useful features inside of the app. It is most definitely worth the download. But speaking of Bluetooth connectivity, you can also just connect to your Titan 70 module from your mobile device and then just stream audio directly into the unit. And this is by far the fastest way to get a drum mix going right alongside your favorite music. And I still can't believe that this feature isn't included in much more expensive kits. So well done, Simmons, on that one. Now, you know I had to try this out using my own app, so I opened up the Orlando Drummer app for iOS and I searched for my favorite drum list play along. Then I just hit play from the app and sent the loop audio right into the Titan 70. So within seconds, I was able to have the track that I wanted mixed directly against the drum sounds, all sent right to my headphones. So what do I think of this kit? Well, with the price point in mind, I think anyone who spent their money on the Titan 70 will not be disappointed. If we want to play the game of ranking this kit against other options on the market, I think you'd have a difficult time finding this amount of drums and cymbals and this amount of tech in one package for a similar price. For me personally, the most valuable features are the Bluetooth connectivity of the module and the overall quality of the drum sounds that are included. Having useful tech features will get you playing drums faster because you're not caught up in the tech world, and having good sounding drums in your ears will keep you playing longer because you actually like what you're hearing. And that's about the most that a drum teacher could ever ask for in an electronic drum set. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this review of the Simmons Titan 70. I'm going to leave you with a few more demos of some of the included drum sounds, but keep in mind it is nowhere near all of them. But if you have any questions about this particular kit or electronic kits in general, feel free to drop those down in the comments below. Adam here, the Orlando Drummer, and I will catch you in the next one. Later.